At that, let's kick this off, everybody. My name is Brennan. I'm one of the co-founders at Wholesale, and I'm joined today by Taylor at Reebelo. Taylor is the director of business development at Reebelo, and came to Reebelo after 5 years at eBay, working in their eBay refurbished program. So he's got a ton of industry experience, and Taylor has been our point of contact as we built out our integration with Reebelo, and we've worked with him on signing sellers up, building the integration and making sure everything works correctly, doing support after folks are already using it. And so Taylor's really familiar with this whole process. And so I'm psyched to be doing a webinar with him. So thanks, Taylor.
Yeah, thank you, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to do a quick walkthrough, everybody, of some of the basic features of our integration with Reebelo, and then I'm going to hand it off to Taylor to talk about their marketplace, why you want to sell there, and how you can start if you're not already. So we'll kick right into this. I think that there's a good chance that folks on the call are familiar with Wholesale, but if you're not, I'll do a very quick overview. My co-founder and I have been building Wholesale for almost 6 years now. It's been a good run. And what the software is basically a serialized ERP system with a ton of e-commerce management tools today. So it started back in 2018 as more of a B2B tool for managing serialized inventory, processing bulk IMEIs for wholesalers and B2B sellers of used electronics. But over the last 3 or 4 years, we've added a ton of these e-commerce integrations. And of course, that's what we're talking about today with Taylor from Reebelo. So we cover all the major channels, and I'm going to get into what our integration with Reebelo does, which we do with these various channels to allow you to kind of sell in a multi-channel format without worrying about overselling as you sell between these different channels and fulfill the orders that you have. So the other thing you'll notice about Wholesale is we've got a ton of integrations, not only with these e-commerce channels, but with other software in the industry that is very relevant to you if you're selling used electronics. So we've got integrations with Phone Check for diagnostics. We actually have a couple other diagnostics providers that are building integrations on our API now. So if you're curious about that, reach out to me. We have an integration with a company that's now called Reusely that was Buyback.ai. They build trade-in software. So there are all these, and then we've also got ShipStation and QuickBooks integrations. So tons of integrations with the software that you use to manage your inventory and your business at large. Our integration with Reebelo is very exciting. We've got a handful of different things that it does, and I just kind of want to walk through them at a high level. So you see this graphic that I've got here. Wholesale is constantly, every 10 to 20 minutes, syncing with Reebelo, and it's sending your inventory quantities to the listings that you have on Reebelo. Ooh, you guys can't hear. Sorry, Nick. Let's see. Are you able to hear me, Taylor, or Mike, still? I think this might be on your end, Nick. So we got a comment from you that you can't hear, but folks are able to hear us. Okay, so I'm going to continue. But maybe Mike, hopefully you can let Nick know in the chat that you can hear us. So this integration that we have with Reebelo, similar to our other e-commerce integrations, but it syncs listings. So the listings that you have on Reebelo, Wholesale is constantly updating the quantities of those listings to prevent you from overselling on Reebelo or any other channels that you've got listings on. So it's constantly updating those every 10 to 20 minutes. On that same 10 to 20 minute job, Wholesale is importing new orders that you have from Reebelo so that those orders can get in and we can deduct those orders from the quantity that you have available on all of your channels. And then we're syncing shipments as well. So whenever you now create a shipping label or put a tracking number into Wholesale, we are sending that tracking number over to Reebelo to notify your customers. So all of these automated things that we're doing. And the thing that we've added most recently is an IMEI or ESN sync that whenever you're fulfilling orders from Wholesale, we are automatically sending Reebelo the serial number of the device that you fulfilled on each order. And this, all of these different things that we're doing, what we're trying to reduce is your team's manual time processing orders. We're kind of Harry and I both, Harry, my co-founder at Wholesale, and I are working with customers, looking at how their team interacts in a warehouse and fulfills orders. And we're trying to reduce the amount of manual stuff that you have to do. So we're going to need to add, because we recently added this IMEI sync feature, we're going to need to add that to our graphic here to show that not only are we syncing the shipments, but we're also sending the IMEI to Reebelo as well. So that's pretty exciting. And that's kind of what my next slide is also, is that showing that when you commit inventory in wholesale, we've got this whole commitment process that is very specific to your serialized fulfillment of orders. Reebelo kind of built this very quickly, and we got it launched, and I'm pretty excited about it. So it's currently a beta feature in wholesale. You can go into your account, enable the ESN push to Reebelo in your beta features, and wholesale will start sending whenever you have a Reebelo order and you scan an IMEI that's going on that Reebelo order. Wholesale will send that IMEI to Reebelo, so you don't have to open a separate Reebelo tab and go put that IMEI in manually. So that's what this feature does, and we're pretty psyched about it. In addition, I kind of like to share this because we don't talk about it very often, but obviously wholesale has an integration that we talk about with ShipStation, but this is a cool graphic that shows exactly how this process works. So if you're curious about how you're going to work through the workflow of fulfilling your Reebelo orders, this shows it. So when you get an order on Reebelo, it comes into wholesale, and then wholesale immediately sends that order to ShipStation. So you can have your tab open with ShipStation, print your shipping label for that order, and your team at this point is probably, we have different customers that process this on either side. Some of them will pick the item before they print the shipping label. Some of them will pick it after. And if you've got any questions for me about those workflows, let's get on a call and I can share how we'll set you up and what our best practices are. But in essence, between this step 2 and 3 that you see on this diagram, you're probably picking the device and then printing the shipping label in ShipStation. When you do that, that tracking number comes back up to wholesale, and wholesale automatically sends it to Reebelo, to whatever channel, but Reebelo in this instance. And another part of this is that IMEI sync. So in this around step 2 and 3, you're picking the item and putting it on the Reebelo order, and so wholesale is sending both the IMEI or ESN for the item and the tracking number up to Reebelo. So it's not rocket science, but it's a thing that we're doing that is allowing you and your team to have like 1 or 2 fewer tabs open and keep everything in sync. And we're really psyched about that. We just launched that in the last few weeks with the Reebelo team. And that's it for me, everybody. If you're curious more about the way that wholesale interacts with Reebelo or getting set up as far as the integration goes, schedule a call with me and Mike or ask us for help via chat. We would love to help you. But now I want to turn it over to Taylor, who's going to talk about Reebelo's marketplace and why you want to become a seller there if you're not already.
Great. Thanks, Brennan. Really appreciate it. And your team has been an incredible partner for us from day one for our launch in the US. So I'll be brief here with my comments. Certainly want to leave time for questions. If you do have questions, feel free to put them in the chat and I'll get to them at the end. So happy to field any of those. So Reebelo, like Brendan mentioned, we're a marketplace for refurbished products. Tech focused for launch, certainly, but we see ourselves as a platform for all re-commerce. Just a few things about us. So we operate founded our company in APAC, so Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, or some of our strongest markets today, but a really strong emphasis here in growth in the US. And all of the data, shows that buyer propensity to buy a pre-owned device or a refurbished device here in the US is growing. That segmentation of buyers will continue to grow over the next decade. So really exciting for everybody on this call, and we're certainly leaning into that, right? Which is why I think all of these marketplaces have really doubled down on this segment of inventory, because from a sustainability standpoint and from a price sensitivity standpoint, the market's going to continue to grow. And to that point, right? Sustainability, we're certainly seeing that messaging resonate with our buyers, but this market as well, the price sensitivity from buyers, right? It's at an all-time high, right? I think we're all feeling that with how expensive things have gotten, and so we're looking to offer an alternative to our consumers. And again, I know I'm preaching to the choir here. Everybody on this call, I think, understands this. So one thing I think one thing that's exciting about us, about Reebelo, is we're really investing in the US market. So I'll just jump to the next slide. We took a $50 million Series A, moved our global headquarters here to the US. It's important to note that our engineers are here, our support team is here. We are US focused and you will have US support. So if you sell with us, we're really working with you here stateside to make sure that we deploy any fixes or take your feedback and build the best marketplace. And it's important that I call that out, is that we are investing in this market and understand the growth here. Okay, so probably what everybody cares about, right? Why Reebelo, and how are we different from maybe some of the other marketplaces that you sell on? So if you're familiar with Back Market, they're our main competitor here in the US. I think our main value proposition is that we're less expensive than them from a commission standpoint, and we return your money to you faster. So we pay out on a weekly basis. You'll have dedicated account management, and like I said, that commission, your all-in cost with us will be better. We are scaling rapidly. We're on pace to do about 15 to 20 times what Back Market did in their first year in the US. So we're certainly looking for more supply. We do have an emphasis on quality, right? And you'll see this application. If you're interested in selling with us, drop us an application. Myself or one of my colleagues will follow up with you within the next 24 hours. But for this market to continue to grow, there has to be a continued emphasis on quality. And we measure something called Net Promoter Score with our vendors. Really important to us, especially when a new consumer comes into the refurbished landscape for the first time. Really important that they have a great experience, right? If they do, we've converted them to be a refurbished or pre-owned buyer. They'll come back, they'll purchase again. If not, all of their fears and their worst nightmares have been validated, and we've lost them. And so you'll certainly see a focus from us on metrics like order defect rate, transaction defect rate, return rate, all really important to us. And we definitely want to work with partners that are emphasizing quality. And we are a gated marketplace, right? So we do look at that. People that are not adhering those standards, we won't work with. But we have a ton of incredible partners who are using WholeCell already today. The integration is working pretty seamlessly. So very quick onboarding process from our team. Once the application is filled out, we'll get back with you, get you the vendor agreement, can get you onboarded, within a week of getting those documents signed. And again, just speaking to our scale a little bit, we're almost doubling our GMV every quarter, and we're going to continue that ramp. So no better time than Q4, right before holiday, to get onboarded with us. We have a pretty healthy budget when it comes to customer acquisition. That's the real value proposition for you. Go to Google, search for a refurbished device. You'll certainly see us there. And then something to call out, which I spoke about last slide, is consumer trust is really at the forefront of our marketplace, emphasizing quality. If you look at our Trustpilot score versus some of our competitors, we're best in industry for this space. That is all I have. We would love to work with you. We are looking for quality suppliers. Feel free to drop any questions in the chat. You can shoot me an email, Taylor@Reebelo.com. I can follow up with you, or just simply click to apply there, and my team will follow up with you within the next 24 hours. So thanks for the time, Brennan. I really appreciate the partnership.
Yeah, my pleasure, Taylor. It's been really great working with you. I'll echo the same sentiment back that for our customers who are on the call, or prospective customers, our experience working with the Reebelo team has been nothing short of kind of seamless. I think it's important for me to note that when we launch a new integration, it's never like it's never smooth sailing, no problems at all. There are always little things that come up because systems talking to each other, as you as sellers know, they don't always talk to each other perfectly. But when we're building the integration, the most critical thing is having quick support, and we've had that with the Reebelo team. So when we initially launched the integration, our first few sellers that tested it, we were able to work with them and the Reebelo team and get all of the pieces of the integration working seamlessly. So that's a huge vote of confidence from us, and I think it's like a beautiful scenario when we launch new sellers with you guys, Taylor, that we have that fast loop. We've got a handful of questions coming in. Awesome, thanks, Taylor. You've answered those in the chat. And then one thing I wanted to mention, everybody, is Taylor put in this little featured action that's a link at the bottom left of your screen. So you can click that link to apply for their application process to become a Reebelo seller. And so that's all right there. Taylor, feel free to take over if you want to talk about any of the stuff that's being chatted about more live, but
yeah, sure. So I see
chat.
one question there about, a company in the UAE, how can we get benefits from our platform and service? So one thing that I did not touch on, but we have launched, is we do have a B2B portal. So if you're looking for purchasing or selling, I can certainly get you in touch with our B2B sales manager. Now the integration there is a little bit different, and you can follow up with me regarding that. But because of WholeCell's functionality, where you can kind of download import and export files pretty easily, you can do that in our WholeCell system as well. So we certainly have opportunities, cross border there, and given that we have buyers in Australia and New Zealand and Singapore, there may be opportunity there for you for some bulk purchasing cross border. And then you have a question about brand new. We are a marketplace focused solely on re-commerce and really trying to change consumer behavior. So you won't see any brand new products listed in the US outside of a handful of accessories. Even then, we're trying to really promote accessories that would end up in a landfill. OtterBox has a refurb program. We're working with them on some of their cases. So you won't see much there in terms of new devices. Money after sales. So we pay you out on a weekly basis. You'll get a weekly disbursement from us from the week prior of sales, and 1% less than back market. But if you look at some of those additional costs, like we don't charge you for Affirm or Klarna, that is passed through to you on some of our competitors. So on some of those transactions, you may be looking at 13, 14, 15% actual margin, and ours is 9 flat, including payment processing. These are great questions. Thanks for so minimum required warranty period, a year. So similar to back market on that one, it's important to note battery is covered for 90 days, but minimum warranty for a year. One thing I'll tell you about that, just from my time in the industry, is it's look, for the most part, it's a marketing ploy to set consumers at ease. Claim rates past 90 days are really low for this inventory, especially if you have good quality product. Yep, Abdul, no problem. I actually, let me just give you his name right here in the chat. There you go. If I missed, I think I commented on everything, so keep the questions coming if there are any more.
And I'll just add really quickly, Taylor. I think you and I have maybe talked about this before. There's another question, but I just wanted to mention, I think your guys' returns process, there's maybe some comparison there to other competitors about the Reebelo process. If a customer initiates a return, I forget how the financials of that work, but may be advantageous to other marketplaces.
Yeah, so couple questions here, and I'll touch on that, Brennan, as well. So traffic listing reports, absolutely. We provide you as much data as we can, really, to help you make business decisions on sourcing, what buy boxes may be available, how many devices we've sold through in the past 60 days on the marketplace. So we're really trying to develop, uh, data for you to go and make business informed business decisions. Yeah, so lost packages. This is a billion-dollar problem in the industry, right? Not just lost, but like stolen packages. And there's a lot of companies that are trying to solve for this. So we have a pretty straightforward, and I'm happy to, feel free to shoot me an email, and I'm happy to give more context here. But we have a pretty straightforward policy here. So if you have signature on your packages, you're going to get 100% coverage from us, no matter what, kind of no questions asked. With no signature, we're still making it difficult for that consumer to be fraudulent. We're making them submit a police report. If they do submit a police report and there is no signature on the package, the liability would then be on the seller. But I can tell you, the steps that we put in place to really mitigate that fraud. Very few people are actually going through and submitting those reports. We actually call a lot of those buyers as well, let them know, hey, we'll go ahead and blacklist the device. We appreciate you, letting us know it was stolen, and that kind of stops it right there a lot of times as well. So yeah, great question. Buyback will be launching very soon. We will certainly have lower fees than what you're paying with some of our competitors. So you'll hopefully be able to get some offering. And if you're curious about what that looks like, you can go to Reebelo, Bello.sg, and you can see the buyback flow in Singapore. I don't know what the fee will be yet for a buyback, but I can promise you it will be more competitive than what you're paying with one of our main competitors if you are buying back there. Yes, absolutely. If you're R2, R2V3, I'm very familiar with Siri and the process that it takes to to get that certification. So really, we're just streamlining your onboarding. No kind of issues or questions about the refurbishment in-house. I know that you're being audited on that every single year. So certainly an advantage from our standpoint of, hey, consumer trust. And I'm actually been working with their team on, hey, how do we make a consumer facing kind of messaging around what the R2 certification is. Now, in our industry, we understand what that is. Consumers have no clue, right? So, hey, we want to we know what it takes to be R2V3 cert. We want to help our customers better understand what that means, from a responsible recycling standpoint, from a sustainability standpoint. So yes, definitely, like, nothing concrete other than, hey, we're going to get you onboarded very quickly. Okay, any deductions other than a 9% fee? So no, customer service is inclusive of that 9% fee. So we don't charge you for messages with that our team has to have with buyers. A 9% fee is inclusive. Brendan, I felt like you had a question for me that I forgot to respond to. But these are great questions. Delivery time.
No, you're fine to keep going with these people.
Yeah.
This is great. This is the most interaction we've had on a webinar in a while, so I'm just psyched to see
love
it. So
yep.
I'll keep muted.
Delivery time. So it depends by product. We give you, for like phones, it's going to be 3 days from the time of transaction. You're welcome to use whatever method you can use to ship that product and reduce your cost. Like, I don't require you to use FedEx One Rate. If you live in New York and you're shipping to somebody in New York and you can get it there by ground within the 3-day window, you're welcome to do that. So we leave it up to you to manage your business, but we kind of give you the SLAs and ask that you meet them. Most popular. Okay, so market share, we're definitely strongest in AU in terms of the percent. We compete directly with eBay. We sell more devices in a month on Reebelo than eBay does. in Australia. So from that standpoint, I would say market share there. But in terms of the U.S. is just a much bigger market. So while we are definitely newer to the game, we'll definitely be the largest market for Reebelo by the end of the year. And then like similar thing for New Zealand and Singapore, like we dominate market share in both of those markets, but they're much smaller markets. Yeah, great questions. Thank you.
This is so cool. As long as no other questions come in the meantime, the thing that I was mentioning to was just I think that the flat fee is one thing, but then it's really the process of every kind of interaction with the channel or with the marketplace that sellers have that kind of makes up this holistic picture of what's it like selling on a channel, and the returns side of things. I wasn't sure if you're able to share, but what that returns process look like if a customer returns basically a buyer remorse device. I've been hearing more and more from sellers about different channels that have different fees, or the structure of do they pay the final value fee back to the seller if the customer just decided to return the device and there wasn't any problem with it, anything to dock the seller account
Yep.
for, and how you guys handle that.
Yeah, great question. So we would never keep your final value fee for a buyer remorse return, and it's ridiculous if you're paying that fee elsewhere. So no, for a buyer remorse return, you'll be returned your full commission, right? You as the seller, we give you 2 business days to inspect that device, ensure it's the right IMEI. There's no part swapping, rocks in a box. And we ask that your team approve that return. You go into your back end system and say, hey, yep, all good. We got it back, same condition, which was stated. Or if there's an issue, you can go ahead and reject that and say, hey, this is not the same IMEI. And we already have that information because you're on wholesale. So Brendan and his team have piped that through to us, and there's no questions there. We may ask, hey, what was the IMEI you got back? And then we go ahead and, find any chargebacks, anything like that on our side, and protect you. Yep. So the only additional fee that you would incur from us is around, on the return side, is around inaccurate grading. So if you say, hey, I'm sending out a premium device and it's an acceptable grade, and that leads to a return, we are going to take a 2.5% fee. Now, it's important to note we require them to send in pictures, so we're not like taking them at face value. So pictures coming in, our team is determining that. And every single marketplace has a fee kind of around quality. Some of them are hidden very well. We're very upfront about it. At eBay, we had something called service metrics, which you should definitely look into. If you're selling there, you might be paying an extra 5% that you don't realize. But for buyer remorse, we would never keep any fee. We do not like returns just as much as you do not like returns. They're not good for anybody. But understand, especially here in the U.S., it's part of the business. But no, we would not keep those fees. Condition guideline. Let's see. How many phones are sold per day, and which one is mostly sale? Per day. Like what I'll share is we're ramping rapidly. I can't share like any specifics. Actually, if you're a seller though, like you will be able to see a lot of that data. Apple is certainly our bigger seller here in the US, but that's just because Apple has bigger market share. Actually, in some of our other markets, Samsung is more popular. Condition guidelines, if you drop me a note, I'm happy to share that with you. It's going to fall somewhere in between, some of the other marketplaces in terms of condition grading. Yeah, any other questions, feel free to drop them in, but thank you so much for the engagement. Average metrics, great question. So we're looking at, again, the emphasis that we have is on quality. So 2 metrics I really care about are order defect rate and transaction defect rate if you're on eBay or back market. or order defect rate on Amazon renewed. Those are pretty those are pretty telling metrics for what type of quality a seller will have. And then all the other normal metrics that you're being measured: return rate, uh, sales volume. We measure something internally, and net promoter score, like I mentioned. Selling or listing limits for sellers? No. If we vet you and approve you as a seller, you'll be good to list your full assortment. Yeah, awesome. Brennan, I think I answered your questions. If there are any other questions in the chat, feel free to send them over. Feel free to drop me an email. And looks like a few people have maybe already applied, so we'll be following up with you by the end of the day today.
That's awesome. The only thing that I was going to add, Taylor, is somebody had asked about condition guidelines and grading. And one of the things if you're a seller on Wholesale, customer of ours, and you're already doing e-commerce sales, you know this already. But one of the things I love about our e-commerce integrations that I just want to point out here is we allow you to attach multiple SKUs to any e-commerce listing for syncing quantities. And the reason we do that is if you're a seller that has really specific grading, say you're doing grading on you've got like a plus and minus scales, you've got an A plus, an A minus, a B plus, a B minus, that I think is few and far between, but we do see it sometimes. And so if you're grading things so specifically that multiple of your grading categories could apply to a single listing on Reebelo per their condition spec, you can do that with Wholesale in a way that you is like very difficult if you're manually managing your inventory or whatnot. So you can bring in a listing from Reebelo for a product in a certain grade or in a certain condition per their spec, and you could attach multiple SKUs. And that the way we see sellers using that is for grading specifically, and for kind of the carrier lock element. So if you've got a listing for a Verizon or an AT&T device, and you want to, if it's at a price that you're willing to fulfill unlocked devices, you could include your unlocked stock on that listing as well. And so you have a tremendous amount of flexibility in the ways that you connect your e-commerce listings. I should have talked about that in our the integration overview, but that you're able to do that with Wholesale, and then once you set it, you can kind of set it and forget it, and Wholesale will just keep counting the various grades or the various carrier lock devices towards the listing that you've set them up to. So, and then perfect timing. One more question just came in.
Let's see. Fraudulent sellers, yes, there definitely are. No, like we're pretty strict on like quality, right? There's a lot that we're doing to vet sellers, and we won't tolerate. The worst thing for us is, like I mentioned, a bad customer experience, especially where we're focusing on really trying to convert new buyers to refurb buyers, right? We have to ensure a great customer experience. And so it's really hard for sellers who are fraudulent to kind of get through our application process and vetting process and actually get to our marketplace. Reebelo AU has sell your device. Yes, we will be doing buyback here very soon. No, not so Nick, your question about selling phones with defects such as Face ID. No, not at this time, at least B2C, but B2B, we might have an opportunity for you there. But for the most part, like our products are consumer facing products. User interface of your app. Happy to do that. Shoot me an email. I'll offline with you, and I can give you a demo of our back end. But it's a pretty simple, straightforward interface. Great, got it. I will follow up with you. Thank you. yeah, pretty simple user face. I mean, similar to what you'll see elsewhere on some of the other marketplaces. And again, we're developing new features every single day to try to deliver the best experience for you as a seller. Great.
Nice. This is one of the most interactive webinars we've ever had, Taylor. So kudos to you for answering questions well and exciting our customer base.
Yeah, absolutely. There's great opportunity, lots of opportunity to do business together. So excited about it. Yep. And I will definitely get those emails out today. Thank you.
Cool. And for anyone that's, if you missed the chance to chat with us, or you're not live, you're watching this as a recording afterwards, I'm just going to pop the slide to the next. I've got this detail here that, as you can see, we work really close. I mean, Taylor and I work together on a daily basis, basically, with customers that are signing up, or with any kind of onboarding stuff, or putting together content like this for you all. So if you have lost his contact somehow and you need to get it, just shoot me a message at any time, either on our WholeCell live chat or via email, and Mike and myself will connect you to Taylor and his team at Reebelo. We work closely enough with them that that's a pretty fluid transition. So we would love to introduce you. And I think, I guess I can't speak for you guys, Taylor, but I do think that our sellers that are using WholeCell, they're kind of showing that they're a little bit more organized by the fact that they're using our software. They've got a system in place. They've got structure in their business, and I think that looks a little bit better on them than folks that come in with kind of mangled spreadsheets in various states. And so hopefully, since we have this process, we've been building it over the last year, that process is smoother for you guys, and so sellers have a better chance potentially of selling on Reebelo if they come through our introduction.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. I much prefer someone who is seamlessly integrated with us, already feeding us those IMEIs, the serial numbers. That makes it really easy on our side to protect sellers from fraud, and then of course from avoiding oversell is one of the worst experiences for consumers when we have to cancel transactions due to oversell, and your platform enables sellers to avoid this, right? So yeah, you've been a phenomenal partner. A lot of WholeCell sellers have joined us since we launched in the US and are off to a great start. Any other gadgets? Yes, absolutely. So we're a marketplace for all pre-owned, refurbished products. So phones, computers, laptops, tablets, smartwatches, all of that will be a fit. And then you'll see a lot of other product lines as well. But I think for this call, it'd be anything that you're selling, on, Amazon renewed, eBay refurbished, Walmart restored, back market, certainly an opportunity to sell that with us as well.
So cool. Well, great, everyone. If you've got any follow-up questions, we got some.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So we're working on some dev on our side to enable this without you having to create a unique SKU for it. So once that's done, Brendan, maybe we could offline and figure out how we bring that to life. But right now, what we do is you would have to create like a unique SKU, right? So it would be a bundle. We'll do it every day. So you won't get it every month. You'll get it every day in your seller portal from us.
Sorry, and that's a list of the top selling
Yep,
devices.
yep,
on
you can
marketplace.
filter it real time every single day of, hey, what's selling best. And same with sales. Yep. And prices. Yep. All of that is in your dashboard available for you, so that you can make informed business decisions. You will need to register a US account. So if you're already selling in Reebelo AU, if you worked with Danny, you'll need to set up a US account. And then the only thing to call out there is Brendan, we can offline this as well, but I do believe if you're using WholeCell already, I don't believe the integration currently supports multiple Reebelo accounts. And so what we could do is you could still somewhat manage it manually. So Cash, let's connect on that and see if we can come up with a solution. No, payments at Wordo are handled directly by us. No need to, we're not going to send you to PayPal or anything. We're going to pay you direct ACH transfer on a weekly basis.
And hopping back to that previous question from Cash, we actually kind of serendipitously just had someone ask about this the other day about selling on the AU marketplace versus the US one. And I can confirm, yeah, Taylor, we our WholeCell integration to Reebelo only supports one account, so you either connect a USA account or an AU account. I do believe that it's possible to connect, your AU Cobalt account via our Reebelo integration, but you're only able to connect that one. That being said, if we've got a customer that if you want to sell on both platforms, we would give you a hefty discount on a secondary WholeCell account if you wanted to keep two WholeCell accounts and one connected to each marketplace. So we have some workarounds that are worth touching base with us on if that's of interest to you. So. So cool. Thank you, everybody. I mean, really, thank you, everyone, for the great questions. This is phenomenal to get this much interaction for us. And for anybody on the call, you've got my contact information, you got Taylor's, so you can follow up with us after this. It looks like a few people already filled out the app or clicked on our application link, which is great. And Taylor, unless you've got anything else, I say we wrap it up and let people off to have a great weekend.
Nope. Thanks again for the time and the partnership. Look forward to meeting everyone on the call and getting you selling with us. So enjoy the weekend, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for the time, everybody. We will have a recording of this on the WholeCell YouTube channel, but if you were signed up for this webinar anyways, you'll get a recording link emailed to you after I think it processes. So thanks again. We'll talk to you in the next one.